I'll start the session little while, let people join. So I'll start this session. Just wait for a few minutes more. Okay, so let's begin the session. Okay, hello everyone, good evening to all of you, and I am your instructor Dr. Vivek Uprit, and I hope you all like this video, you all like this series what we started, okay, the Java programming. Okay, in last two sessions we discussed like why Java, okay, and some of the introductory part of what is Java. But till now I hope you understood like why there is a need of Java in industry, why the Java peoples are so much demanded in industry. From last two lecture we have discussed so many concepts like, okay, what is the need of Java, and lastly we discussed that the definition of Java is Java is a platform independent, open source, freeware, object oriented programming language, right? So among that topic, among the definition exactly, we discussed like what is the meaning of open source. Okay, I hope you attended the last one. Okay, so we discussed that what is open source language. Okay, but you know, before starting much more, let me discuss one most important thing. If you have not liked this video, not share this video, please do it immediately, okay? Because see, as much as you share this video, that will be beneficial for you also and for me also, right? So please like this video fatafat, okay, and share this video to everyone. Okay, so now it begins with the session again. Okay, so in last video we discussed about why we say that Java is an open source language, why we say that Java is a object oriented programming language, right? Because we have not yet discussed the platform independency concept, but yes, open source, freeware, okay, what is the meaning of freeware, that all concept we discussed in the last one, and we stopped at the moment like, okay, this is what the last topic what we discussed, like, okay, in object oriented programming, what is polymorphism? That already we discussed, like polymorphism means what, to achieve more than one thing from a single thing. Okay, then we discussed like examples of polymorphism like operator overloading, method overloading. In Java we have a method, not a function. I hope you all aware with what is the difference between method and function. Can you please answer me what is the difference between function and method? Okay, quickly type the difference between function and method what we discussed in the last video. Okay, it's a small, in a very briefly manner, explain me what is the difference between function and method. Okay, type quickly. Okay, so that already I discussed in the last video, what is the difference between function and method. Okay, I received so many answers like functions are outside the class while method is a member of a class. This question is a very frequently asked question of topmost MNCs even, right? So that's why the reason I asked this question again to you, because in last video I explained all this concept like what is the difference between function and method. Okay, then we discussed about like operator overloading concept in Java. operator overloading is possible at which end? What we discussed, anyone? What is the difference between operator overloading in C++ and operator overloading in Java? Okay, initial 10 minutes we need to revise all the concept what we discussed in the last video. Because these all are very frequently asked question of topmost MNCs. Difference between operator overloading in C++ and operator overloading in Java. What we discussed in last video, anyone? Anyone can explain me? Okay, very briefly I need your answer in a very one-line answer. Okay, not very much hi-fi. Okay, it's a one-line answer. What is the difference between these two? Operator overloading in C++ and operator overloading in Java. Okay. That's accurate answer, right? Java doesn't let us to overload operator, right? While C++ used. Okay, like in Java, operator overloading is possible at developer end. Developer means the person who developed the Java, right? So not at our end. We are not able to overload the operator. While in C++, it is possible in both the end, even at developer end as well as the user end. Like if we are an user. Okay, so that is what the difference we discussed. Function and method difference we discussed, right? While method overloading is possible in Java, right? Is Java support function overloading? Yes or no? Is Java is having function overloading? Is Java is having function overloading concept? Yes or no? Definitely. Okay, so means you have attended all the last videos. Okay, that's the thing I need to confirm whether you have knowledge of all this concept what we discussed in last video or not, right? So Java is having method overloading, but because Java don't have a function, because everything in Java is a member of a class, right? So each and everything in Java is a member of a class, so that we have a method, not have a function. But in C++, we have both the things like function overloading as well as method overloading, because in C++ it is possible that you write a code even without using the concept of object-oriented programming. The reason is that C++ is both procedure-oriented as well as object-oriented programming language. So that was the last concept what we discussed. Now let me show you the most important concept, that is encapsulation, data hiding plus abstraction. Please be focused on this because it is one of the most important topic as per the point of view of Java. Data hiding plus abstraction. So what is the meaning of this data hiding? Okay, and you know Java is actually well known for data security, right? So encapsulation is one of the most important concept as per the Java point of view, and I'll explain you all example related with Java only. Like how Java supports this data hiding and abstraction. Okay, so first let me know you, like even in last video I told you that each and every concept of object oriented programming is related with the real world. You know, in real world it's a very common word we actually discuss, like capsule. Okay, it's a very common word, capsule, right? You know, capsulation. Okay, capsulation means hiding the content, right? Hiding the content is called a capsulation. So data hiding means what? Please listen it very carefully if you really want to answer in your MNC's interview, right? Because it's one of the most important question very frequently asked. Okay, because Java is well known for data security. Okay, so that's the reason why I'm insist you please listen it very carefully. Like data hiding means what, and what is the meaning of abstraction? Data hiding means always represent your data in hided form. Because you know, for every application data is the most important entity, right? So data hiding means first your data is in hided form, but where the person who use this data, like he or she, I don't know whether the person is programmer or a developer, right? If any person use this data, that person use the data at abstract level. You know what is abstraction? Use the thing without knowing its background detail. Okay, so that is called an abstraction. Use the thing without knowing its background detail is called an abstraction, and hiding the main content is called an data hiding, and combination of data hiding and abstraction is called an encapsulation. Okay, I'll show you with the proper example in Java. Don't worry about this. Plus, please listen it very carefully. Like what is encapsulation? It's a combination of data hiding and abstraction. Hiding means Your important content always represent at hided form, and abstraction means use the thing without knowing its background detail. Okay, now let me show you a best example to understand this concept. Okay, suppose, okay, I think, I hope this thing is not required. Okay, but suppose if you go to the doctor's house, okay, like suppose you are ill or you are not feeling well, so you go to the doctor's place, right? So what is the scenario when you go to the doctor place? Then doctor will check, okay, then the doctor will prescribe you some medicine. So then after what you do? Then after, what is the next step you do, right? Suppose doctor give you a prescription, okay, then after what your next step? Okay, the next step is that you go to home, then you open Google, then you search all the medicine, then after verification of all, then you go to medical store, and then after you purchase the medicine and then you eat it. Is this the process we do? Like we go to, like after prescription, we'll go to home and then we open a Google or Chat GPT, and then we'll see all the content, like what is the content available in this medicine, okay, which company's medicine is this, right? And then after all this research, then we go to, after 3, 4 hours, 6 hours, we'll spend to that research, and then we'll go to medical house, okay, and then we'll purchase a medicine. Is this a process we follow? Tell me, is this a process we follow? Yes or no? Definitely answer is no, because doctor is a god for us, right? Whatever the doctor prescribe, we go to the medical shop, we purchase the medicine, we eat it, because our main aim is to get well. Okay, that is what our main aim, right? Whatever the doctor suggests, that is not our lookout, right? So this is what the things, please try to understand. Use the thing without knowing its background detail. And suppose doctor prescribed you any capsule, so that capsule is in hided form. Wrapper is not important. Important is the content what inside this capsule. It's like example of chocolate. Chocolate is an example of the same thing. Like once suppose you have a chocolate, so important is chocolate, not the wrapper. Got it? So abstraction means what? Use, how many you read whatever written in the wrapper of a chocolate? Have you ever read the details? No, because that is not important. Important for you is the chocolate. Got my point? So that is what abstraction. Use the thing without knowing its background detail. But the person who actually provide you a chocolate, that provided in hided form. That provided in hided form. The capsulation, that is what the meaning of capsulation is. Capsulation means what? Combination of this thing, hiding plus abstraction, because the company provided us capsule in hided form and we eat that capsule at abstract level. Okay, so if suppose, in daily life there are a lot of things we do at abstract level. Lot of things. Suppose if someone asks you, okay, what is the time? You simply say that, okay, 8:10. That's it. Or you go to this, like how this watch is work, okay, what is the sale inside it, which is the positive, negative. Oh boss, we are not going to go in that much detail. We simply use this watch at abstract level. Use the thing without knowing its background detail. Okay, use a mobile, but you don't know what exactly the inside programming in this mobile, because that is not your task. That is not your cup of your tea, right? Use the thing without knowing its background detail. Sir, okay, I understand all this practical, all this real world concept. But what exactly the use of this data hiding and abstraction in programming? Now let me show you the best example so that you will able to understand like what exactly the meaning of this data hiding and abstraction. Okay, suppose, you know, ATM. How many of you are use ATM? And how many of you know ATM programming is done in which language? How many of you are using ATM, okay, ATM card, like for withdrawal and money or for deposit? How many of you use the ATM? Obviously, maximum. Yes or no? You are using ATM or not? Yes or no? Yes, most of the people are use ATM card. It's a very frequent use. Okay, after internet application, okay, it may be reduced, but yes, still we use an ATM card for cash. Okay, any one of you know ATM programming is done in which language? Because you know ATM is also software, right? In ATM there is a system and there is a software inside this system. Any one of you know ATM software is developed in which language? Which is the most important language, because it's a combination of multiple languages. There is not a single language behind the ATM application, but which is the most important language behind ATM application? Anyone? the most important language for an ATM application is Java. You know, most of the part of ATM written in Java, it's a combination of three technologies like C++, Java, and some of the part written in assembly language also. But the most important role played by Java, see this one, security, boss. From day one, I told you that secure application always required Java. Because Java is the most secure language of the world, according to me, okay? One of the most secure language. So ATM application written in Java, right? Now, let me show you the best example so that you will never forget what exactly the meaning of this data hiding and abstraction, right? So suppose if I'm talking about ATM code written in Java, that's okay, right? So if any people want to use ATM, he or she must know the Java programming. Yes or no? If suppose a person want to use an ATM, so before using an ATM, it is compulsory that person must learn Java technology. Because ATM code written in Java. Is that so? Is that so? Yes or no? Like suppose if a layman don't know anything about Java, so he or she able to access ATM or not? Layman means the person who don't know the coding part or programming part. So he or she able to access ATM or not? For ATM, to use an ATM, it is not required to know Java, right? Because see the structure concept. Okay, I'll show you. See, I'll explain this with few of the methodology. Okay, suppose in ATM there are two important methods. One is one method which is actually withdrawal. Okay, and one is deposit. Deposit method is there. And one is withdrawal method is there, right? And suppose the short form is withdrawal method. Okay, suppose both method code written in Java, not suppose, it's obvious, right? So what developer did? Okay, you know, for any application, three most important peoples are there. Okay, one is developer. Even we discussed in last video also, I thought. Okay, one is developer. Second is a programmer. Okay, see, please understand so that you will definitely able to understand what exactly the meaning of this data hiding and encapsulation, right? And third one is a user, which is called an end user. This three person plays a very important role for any type of an application, any type of a software development. One is a developer, second is a programmer, and third one is an end user. You know who is a developer? Developer is a person who actually developed a methodology. Programmer is a person who actually uses this methodology and creates a GUI. And end user is a person who don't know anything about technology. He or she only want to access that particular software. Like for WhatsApp, we are end user, right? So let me explain you the best example of data hiding and abstraction. See, suppose being a Java developer, I need to create a class. Okay, so I created a class. Okay, I'm not going to write any programming. Okay, it is just an example. Okay, I created a class like ATM, and inside this class, there are some method like, okay, there is one method which is deposit method. Okay, and this deposit method actually responsible to deposit the amount. Means there are 5,000-6,000 line of code actually developer wrote in this code, in this method. Okay, there is a one method deposit. Please consider it. Okay, please consider it importantly. Okay, and second method is what? Withdraw method. So being a developer, the second method I wrote in this class is a with D method. The short form is with D. Okay, and there are some more methods like change password, and again 3,000-4,000 line of code written in this method. Okay, so when this code is executed, then only your amount is deposit. When this code is executed, then only your amount is withdrawn. So these two methods are responsible for deposit as well as withdrawal. And who wrote this method? Developer. This is the task of a developer. Okay. So once a developer written this code, okay, now tell me, anyone tell me, like, to access this method, what is the next step I need to do? These two methods, if you have any knowledge of C++, it is not required for this course. It is not at all required for this course, but still, if you learn any language which is based on object oriented, so tell me how to access this two method, any of the method, like if I need to access any of this method, okay, what the next step I need to do for that? Suppose I need to call this deposit method to deposit the amount, this withdrawal method to withdraw the amount, then what is the next step I need to do? Anyone suggest me? Please suggest me. I want this answer for those people who are having the background of C++, okay, or any object-oriented technology. Exactly. Tech Dunia. Who is the Tech Dunia? Create object of this class. We need to create object of this class. If I need to access this method, I need to create object of this class. That is the most important thing, right? But see, being a developer, my task is over. My task is only need to create this method. Okay. Now, who is going to create object of this class? End user. End user will create object of this class to deposit the amount. End user will create object of this class to withdraw the amount. Tell me, is this a task of end user? No, boss. End user is not at all know about the technology. He or she don't know what is the method and what exactly the class concept, right? So being a Java developer, when I created this class, this complete code I saved in a file which is a .java file. So .java is a file of Java which contained the source code. So being a developer, my task is done. My task is only create a class and all the methodology of this class, right? Now to provide this class's methodology to end user, there is an important role played by this programmer. But you know, when I'll provide this methods to this programmer, what is the task of programmer? The task of programmer is to create a GUI, an interface for a user. Like user only need to create a button, so automatically this method will call. So for that interface, the main important role played by programmer. So the task of programmer is what? Create a GUI application. What kind of GUI application I'm talking about? This type of GUI application. Like suppose if programmer want to access, like if user want to access this method for deposit or withdrawal, because you know, the main funda behind this deposit and withdraw is this 5,000 line of code. When this line execute, then only your amount is deposit. When this line is execute, then only your amount is withdrawn. But to access this methodology to user, what is the programmer task? The next task is programmer, right? So programmer will create this type of application in Java. It's a graphical application, like where we have a button. Okay, deposit button is there. Okay, then withdrawal button is there. We have a different types of button. Okay, withdrawal button is there. Okay, and then pin change. All these button created by programmer. Although it's written in Java only, right? But all those GUI app created by programmer. That is the task of programmer. But what do you think when user, and what is the task of user? User task and user task is only to click on these buttons and access the method. But you know, the most important thing, please try to understand. When I click on this deposit button, what is my requirement? I need to execute this method. My requirement, I need to execute this method. When I click on this withdrawal, I need to execute this method. So what programmer will do? Programmer will create only object of this class ATM at the time of creation of this button. ATM A, okay, whatever the code, and A dot deposit. That is the task done by a programmer, right? Because once developer provided this class to user programmer, that programmer don't know the source code of this class. Programmer don't have the source code, because being a developer, I provided this source code, I provided this class to this programmer in the form of .class file. You know, in last video, even I told you that in Java, there are only two files created. One is .java, which contains source code, and one is .class file, which contains byte code, which is a machine independent code, so that this code will be executed on any of the machine, right? This .class file is in the form of hexadecimal code. I'll explain all this concept when we'll discuss about platform independency, right? But please try to understand what exactly the scenario of data hiding and abstraction in Java, because Java is the best language to understand data hiding and abstraction. Because in C++, source code is always available, but in Java, it is not necessary that you provide your source code to next level, because there is a .class file. And the best part, you know what is the best part? To access any class of Java, To access any class of Java, we require dot class file, not dot Java file. If I want to create object of this class, I require dot class file, not at all dot Java file. If I'll provide this dot class file to you, you are easily access this method, but you are not able to see the coding of this method because you don't have a dot Java file. That is what the meaning of data hiding is. And user use this method at abstract level. Only use the thing. The person don't know what the code written inside this because that programmer don't have a source code. Because developer provided only dot class file to this programmer, not dot Java file. Okay, so we say that Java, see, now there is a question comes in mind. Sir, in Java, see, please start to understand this concept. It's a very interesting concept, right? Java, each and every classes, Java is having more than 2 lakh classes. Java has given more than 2 lakh classes for programming, right? So all these 2 lakh classes are in the form of .java file because once we create a class in Java, there is a .java file must be created. So every class of Java is in the form of .java file, right? So what Java developer did actually, he created .java file. Then they compiled all the classes and then the dot class file has been created, right? Java developer provided both this file, .java as well as .class. But it is not a restriction to the programmer. Like suppose if I am a Java developer, if suppose I need to create a class in Java and I need to provide these classes to a second person, right? So I only need to provide this .class file. So sir, why Java developer provided it's all .java file, all the classes .java file? Anyone is having any answer with that? Why Java provided the source code of all the classes which has been developed by Java? Because in Java every method is a member of a class. So Java has given both the files like .java as well as .class file. But it is not restriction to you. If you are going to create any application and you only want to provide .class file, still your application is work perfectly. It is not at all required to provide .java file to the next level user. So why Java has given .java and .class file both? Anyone? Already we discussed this concept in previous session. If you don't have any answer, please type no sir, I don't know. But if you have an answer, please type it. Why Java is given .java and .class file? Because every class of Java is in the form of .java as well as .class. So anyone is having any answer? In last lecture I told you Java is an open source technology. Okay, for Java community people, Java has given its complete source code openly so that any community people easily access this source code for further development. And that's the reason Java developer given us .java file as well as .class file. But suppose this person who developed this ATM code, this person want to provide this coding to next level user like programmer. So there is no need to provide this .java file. If you provide this .class file only, this user, this programmer is capable to create object of this class and capable to access method of this class. So to create an object of a class in Java, remember this Mool mantra. To create an object of a class in Java, we don't require .java file. If we have a .class file, but no doubt it is in the form of packages and all these things. Okay, I'll explain you all this concept. But if we have a .class file, easily you create an object of this class and access the method. Now suppose without .java file, if you create object of this class, you access this method works perfectly when user click on this deposit button. What the thing you do? Use the thing without knowing its background detail. You don't know what the code written inside this method, but still being a programmer, you use this code for deposit purpose and as well as for withdrawal purpose. So that is what, use the thing without knowing its background detail. And even this code is written in .java file, but this end user don't know. Even for designing this GUI, we need to write at least 1000, 2000 line of code, right? So even end user don't know anything about this coding part because end user only want this graphical application. So for end user, again the same funda is applied. Use the thing without knowing its background detail. What the code written in behind this, that is not the part of end user. What the code written inside this class. So the task of developer is to create a class, provided the methodology. The task of programmer is to create a GUI, use this method and provide this GUI to end user. But every level data hiding and abstraction is there. Whatever the code written by developer, that is hidden for programmer. Whatever the code written by programmer, that is hidden for end user. So that is the best example to understand like what exactly the meaning of data hiding and abstraction. I hope you understood this concept. Yes or no? Because it's a very frequently asked question of interview. What is data hiding and what is abstraction? Okay, so this is what in Java the best part is that we have a two file. If you want to provide your source code, then go to .java file. Okay, otherwise if you'll provide .class file, anyone can easily access this class's methodology, but that person will not able to see the source code of this class. That is the beauty of Java. But this type of concept is not possible in C++ because in C++ we don't have such type of a method, such type of a conversion system, right? But what we have in Java, right? So I hope now you understood like what is the difference between abstraction and data hiding. Okay, so this is the most important thing. In ATM application, the most important part is this coding. I don't want to provide this code to a user. Like Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, people don't open their source code because they know very well if I'll open my source code, anyone can develop WhatsApp, Facebook. So for every software, source code is the most important part, and the developer don't want to openly available this source code until unless the technology is not open source. I don't want to open my source code for a user. I only want to provide functionality, accessibility, right? Suppose the best example is what? Suppose if you purchase a car, okay, so there are a lot of functionality there in car. Okay, rooftop is there, 6 gear is there. Okay, there are a lot of functionality are there in class. Okay, automatic this, automatic that, automatic that. Okay, but the person is only suggested you. The person is only provided you the name of the functionality, right? Sir, we have a rooftop. Sir, we have this. We have this. Okay, abstract level. Okay, how this rooftop is worked, that is not my business. When I press a button, the rooftop is automatically open, automatically closed, right? How this works, that is not my business. Use the thing without knowing its background detail. But the developer, the person who did this, he or she very well know how this rooftop is worked. So that is what the meaning of data hiding and abstraction. I hope you understood this concept, right? So now let me show you the next part. Okay, so till now we discussed what is data hiding, what is abstraction. Okay, another most important part, inheritance. The most important for Java, day one I told you that the structure of Java is based on inheritance. I'll explain this concept when I'll come to the programming part. The structure of Java is based on inheritance. Every class of Java is having a topmost parent class. Every class of Java is having a topmost parent class, whether this class created by a developer, means there are two types of classes are there. One is called inbuilt classes, second is called user defined classes. Inbuilt classes are those type of classes which is developed by a developer. Like string class in Java is an inbuilt class. Okay, there are a lot of classes are there. Swing is a class. Okay, like HTTP servlet is a class. Okay, so there are a lot of classes are there. Okay, so this class is developed by Java developer. But being a programmer, if I need to create my class, so it is also possible that we'll create our own classes. That is called a user defined class. Please try to understand. Don't get confused in this word like user. Okay. For developer, who is a user for developer, programmer or end user? Who is a user for developer? For a developer, user is a programmer. For programmer, end user is a user. User means who use whatever you provided. So whatever the developer provided, that is used by a programmer, not by the end user. Okay, so tell me one thing. If we'll consider right now for a Java, we are a developer or a programmer or an end user. Right now you are a programmer or a developer or an end user. What do you think? In which role you are right now? In which role you are? We are all not exactly, okay, we are not all right now, okay. We are a programmer because developer is a person who developed Java. I'm asking in that sense, right? Developer is a person, James Gosling, who developed Java, and that person gives Java to us. We are a programmer who learn this technology, and then after we develop a software. For whom we develop a software? For end user. For end user, you are going to develop a software after 4 or 5 months when you complete this course, right? So right now you are a programmer because you are learning Java. You are not going to develop Java, okay? No doubt we develop so many things in Java. That time we'll say that we are a developer. But see, in this scenario, we are a programmer right now, okay? Sometimes we'll play all this role. Okay, we are a developer, programmer as well as end user. Sometimes we'll play all this role, right? Okay, because you know, some classes has been developed by, some classes will going to be developed by us. We are a programmer, so we are going to access this class, and even output will see by, output is also going to see by us only, right? So sometimes we'll play all this role, but this time if I compare as a Java developer, James Gosling is a Java developer, we are a programmer, and then we'll develop a software for end user. So right now we are in the role of programmer, right? So now let me come to the next topic. Okay, so don't get confused with when I'm talking about user, okay? For developer we are a user. Okay, in that sense I use this word user, okay? So now let me show you the another important and most important topic, which is inheritance. See, this is my surety that once you appear in any interview, at least 5 to 10 minutes, they will ask you everything about object-oriented programming, and among this 10 minutes, 15 minutes, at least 5 minutes the person will spend the time only on inheritance, if it is a Java interview. That is my surety. 15 minutes starting being a fresher, okay, I'm talking about being a fresher. After 5 years, they will not ask you this type of a question. That time most important is project, right? So if you are a 5 or 10 year experienced people, then the questions may be different, which I'll cover in upcoming session, okay. But if you are a fresher, okay, if you are a fresher, then definitely they will ask you about object oriented programming at least 15 minutes, and among this 15 minutes, 15-20 minutes, sometimes it may be in half an hour, but among that time, the most of the time is spent by a program of an interviewer is in this topic like inheritance. Because even that person know very well, like structure of Java is based on inheritance, right? What does it means? Let me explain you. What does it means like structure of Java is based on inheritance? You know, in Java, each and everything is a member of class. Okay, I'm not talking about interface right now. There is another concept called interface. Okay, but that I'll cover in upcoming session. Okay, each and everything in Java is either a member of a class or an interface, right? But right now I'm talking about class. Okay, whether this class created by user or by a developer. But every class is having a topmost parent class. If suppose you created a class, so by default this class is inherited by one class, which is called an object class. Object class, the topmost parent class of Java is an object class. The most important question of interview, which is the topmost parent class of Java. Object is the topmost parent class of Java. If you create any class or a developer created any class, if that class don't have any parent class, then its default parent class is an object class. Okay, so this is the reason why I told you that the structure of Java is based on inheritance. Whatever the classes given by Java developer, like 2 lakh, 3 lakh classes, the parent class of all these classes are object class. So the structure is something like this. In topmost we have an object class, and then we have a different type of classes. Whether it is a user defined class or whether it is an inbuilt class, that doesn't matter. So please be focused on this topic very well, very much. Okay, like what is inheritance? Okay, I know some people of you know very well about the inheritance concept, like in C++, in any other technology. But you know, in inheritance in Java is plays a very different role. There is a big difference between inheritance in C++ and inheritance in Java. So that's why the reason I told you that, okay, like don't take this object-oriented programming very lightly, because I'll explain all this example related with Java, not related with any another technology, because there is a wide difference. Like operator overloading, the best example. Operator overloading is an example of polymorphism, but in Java, operator overloading is not possible at our end. It is only possible at developer end. Developer end means at the end of developer would develop the Java technology, right? Similar type of differences we'll find in this inheritance also. So I hope till now you understood all this concept. Okay, but before starting this inheritance, let me take a break of 2 minutes. Okay, and then I'll start this inheritance. But you know, meanwhile, share this course, like this course. If you really want to continue, if you really that I'll continue this course, then your responsibility is share this course as much as possible. At least 10 to 15,000 people must join this course, okay? So that is your responsibility. If you really like this video, whether you like it or not, comment it, okay? In 2 minutes, please comment this. Then after I'll ask you, okay? Okay, so I got so many answers from your side. So if this answer is there, so why you not share this course? Why not yet subscribe the channel? Okay, subscribe this channel, okay, as much as quick, okay, possible, and then share this course to your colleagues, your friends also. Okay, so now let me come to the topic, like what exactly the meaning of inheritance is, right? So inheritance means what? Reusability. The meaning of inheritance is what? Reusability. Reusability means what? Suppose we have a class, okay, okay, and if I want the functionality of this class in some other classes also, right? Like I need to extend this class with the help of this previous classes, right? So it is possible in Java that we can simply inherit this class B by class A. It is possible in Java, simply we inherit this class B by class A, so that all the functionality of this classes is available in class B also. So reusability means what? I hope you understand. Reusability means without any effort, this class B easily access the functionality of this class. And that is what the meaning of inheritance is. Reusability. That is the funda behind this inheritance, right? So, sir, what is an advantage of this inheritance in this case, right? See, and what is the difference between inheritance in C++ and inheritance in Java, right? Now let me show you the best part, the difference between these two, because you know, even in last video I told you that I suggested you that if you write both the languages in your resume, then definitely interviewer will ask you the question which is comparative question, like okay, tell me the inheritance difference between C++ and Java. If there is a language available in your resume, if you wrote both the languages like C plus language known column, there is a column called language known, okay, and if you write like C++ and Java, then definitely this question they will ask, like okay, difference between these two, right? So difference between inheritance in C++ and inheritance in Java is what? The first important difference is that in C++, once we inherit a class, okay, So in C++, we simply say that, okay, this class B, this is the class A. Okay, in C++, we say that it's a parent class, it's a child class, it's a, it is called derived class. Okay, like parent class, child class, or we say that it's a derived class. Okay, so this is what the scene of C++, parent-child relationship. Okay, but in Java we say that it's a super class and it's a subclass. It's a super class and it's a subclass. In Java, once we inherit a class, this is called a subclass and this one is called a superclass. And the most important interview question, which is the supermost class of Java? So the supermost class of Java, which is the topmost superclass, that is object class. Right, so in C++, generally we say that it's a parent class, child class, okay. But in Java, we say that it's a superclass and subclass. That is the one difference. Okay, even in C++ we use this word like superclass and subclass, but most of the time we use this word super and sub in Java only, right? So second most important difference, any one of you who is having a knowledge of C++, if you have, then tell me, suppose if I need to inherit this class B by class A, if I need to inherit this class B by class A, what is the syntax I need to write here? Anyone tell me. If you have any knowledge of C++, okay, tell me the syntax, like how to inherit this class B by class A. Okay, write me a syntax. Okay, syntax. If you have a knowledge, then only. Okay, if you don't know, then let it be. Okay, because for this course, no prior knowledge required of C++, right? But suppose someone of you is having any knowledge, so for them, this is the question, like how to inherit this class B by class A. Okay, so this is what the syntax we need to follow. Class B public. Here we have to write public, okay, and then parent class name, class A. Okay, so this is what the syntax we need to follow in C++, like class B, then mode of inheritance, and then parent class name. Class B public A. Okay, no need to use this class word. Class B public A, right? So this is what the syntax. Okay. But the most important difference between inheritance in C++ and Java is that no need to use this mode of inheritance, because in Java we don't have the mode of inheritance in classes, right? Only you have to write in Java, we simply say that this class B extends by A. This class B, there is a keyword called extends. So if I need to extend this class B, you know what is the meaning of extend? I need to extend. Extend means I need to extend this class B with the functionality of this class A. Okay, I need to write some more method in this class B. I need to extend this class, but I want the previous functionality also, right? So in Java, we simply say that class B extends A. Okay, that is what the keyword introduced by Java. No need to use any mode of inheritance like public, private, protected. In Java, we have a public, private, protected, but these are not mode of inheritance. But in C++, we have a mode of inheritance like public mode, private mode, protected mode. So that is the biggest difference between C++ and Java. Subclass, superclass, parent, sub-child class. Okay, then another important difference is in C++ we use mode of inheritance. Okay, but in Java there is no mode of inheritance is required. I hope you understood. Like, okay, so here we simply use this extend keyword, okay, because you know in Java, as we move further, okay, you realize that Java actually remove all the complicated concept what the previous language is having. Okay, Java realized that it's not necessary, okay, like there is no concept of friend function in Java, there is no concept of pointers in Java, one of the most important thing. Java don't have any pointer concept, Java don't have any concept like friend function, okay, storage classes concept. So in Java, this all garbage value concept, Java don't have any garbage value concept, right? So Java, that's why the reason when I start the features of Java, there is a most important feature like it's a simple language. Simple and secure, because all the complicated concept what the previous language is having, C, C++, Java removed all this concept and created a simple language. And among this is one of the important concept, like no need to use mode of inheritance. When I'll come to this topic in programming, that time I'll explain you the details, but see, this is the major difference, right? Then there is a, types of inheritance are there, like single level inheritance. Okay, then we have a multi-level inheritance. Okay, these are the types of inheritance. Okay, single level inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance. Okay, another type of inheritance is multiple inheritance. Okay, so we have multiple. I'll explain you all this inheritance type, don't worry. Then another inheritance is hybrid inheritance. Okay, hybrid inheritance is there. Then next is hierarchical inheritance is there. Hierarchical inheritance. Okay, these are the different types of inheritance, like single level, multi-level, multiple, hybrid, hierarchical. Okay, these are the different types of inheritance. Inheritance is one of the most important, according to me. In last video, even I told you, according to me, inheritance is one of the most important invention. Okay, because see, this is because of inheritance, we will see this fast grow in IT industry. Okay, this is because of inheritance, because even in mobile company know very well, like if they need to introduce a new mobile, they inherited a class with the previous mobile classes and added some new feature and the new mobile launch. Okay, so there are a lot of examples. Okay, operating system like in Windows operating system. Every 2-3 years we'll get a new features in Windows operating system. We'll get a new version of Windows operating system. This is because of inheritance, because the people known very well, like, okay, to develop something new, I inherited the previous one, add some new features and new functionality will come into the market. So inheritance is the key concept in right now, right? So among all this object-oriented programming, according to me, inheritance is one of the most important concepts. I'm not saying that it's written in some book, okay, but according to me, it is one of the most important topic if industry growth point of view, right? So now what is the meaning of this single level, multi-level, multiple, hybrid and hierarchy? And is Java supports all this type of inheritance? Is Java is having single, multi-level, multiple, hybrid, hierarchical inheritance, right? No. Java is not having all this type of inheritance directly. In Java, we don't have multiple inheritance directly. Directly, there is no concept of multiple inheritance. Okay, directly there is no concept of hierarchical inheritance, because any one of like again the same question for those people who is having a background of C++. Any one of the diamond problem in C++? Because once you appear in C++ interview, definitely they will ask you this question: what is diamond problem in C++? And what is the solution of this diamond problem? Any one of you having any knowledge, diamond problem? What is diamond problem? Okay, can you explain in a single line? I don't require a hi-fi answer. Okay, in single line, can you explain what is diamond problem? And what is the solution of this diamond problem? Tell me. That's great. Who is he? Vishakha. That's great. Virtual keyword is used to resolve that. Yes, definitely. Okay, and inherited more than once. Okay, see, diamond problem is called, this type of a problem is called a diamond problem in C++. Like, suppose there is a class, if you inherited two classes with this class. Okay, I'll come to this topic in Java, don't worry. Okay, see, this is called which type of inheritance? Okay, this is called hierarchical inheritance, right? Hierarchical inheritance, right? When a multiple class is inherited by one class, this is called hierarchical inheritance. And once you created another class D with the inheritance of C and B both. Okay, like this B class inherited by A, this C class inherited by A, and D inherited by both B and C. So indirectly all the methods of this A created a multiple copy in this class D, which is exactly called duplicacy. This is a duplicacy error. Got my point? This is called a duplicacy, right? Because this is not overloading and overriding concept. This is duplicacy, right? So to avoid this duplicacy problem, in C++ we have a concept like virtual class. Virtual class. So sir, this type problem we may face in Java also, right? No, we cannot. Because in Java we don't have multiple inheritance, right? So if we don't have even we face this problem in Java, but that is an inheritance case. I'll explain you when we'll come to the inheritance topic. Okay, but in Java there is no concept like multiple inheritance directly. You are not able to create a single class with more than one classes. Suppose B and C are the two classes. So in Java, it is not possible that class D inherited by class B and class C, because there is no multiple inheritance concepts are there. Just 10 minutes before I told you that Java remove all the concepts which create a complexity from their language. Okay, Java developer removed all this, even not removed, Java developer not included this concept in that in the languages, in Java language, okay, who create complexity. And this is one of the complex concept. And this is called diamond problem, one of the most important interview question in C++. What is diamond problem and how to resolve this diamond problem in C++? So virtual class is there. So in Java, we don't have virtual class concept. We don't have any virtual function concept. Okay, so this is what exactly simple and secure and sober language for me, okay, according to me, right? So see, single level inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple which is not directly supported in Java, hybrid inheritance, what does it mean? So it's a very simple concept. Like single level inheritance means what? When a class is inherited only one level, there is only one superclass and there is only one subclass, right? So this type of inheritance is called single level inheritance. Okay, when you inherited, okay, even in Java, very less we use this word inherit. Most of the time in Java, we use a word which is extend. Extend. We always say this class B extends by class A. Okay, we never use inherit word. Most of the time we use a word extends, like in programming. We always say that in Java, class B extended by class A. Java class B extends by class A. Okay. So if inheritance is possible at one level only, okay, there is only one parent class and there is only one child class. Okay. There is only one superclass and there is only one subclass. So this type of inheritance is called single level inheritance. This is called single level inheritance, right? So I hope you understood like what is single level inheritance is, right? Next is multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance means what? When inheritance crosses one level, like class A, okay, then we have a class B. Even if you have a knowledge of C++, this type concept you have already studied there only, right? Class B, class D, and this inheritance never stops, right? Class D, class C. Okay, so if inheritance crosses one level, right? So now it is called multi-level inheritance. This is called multi-level inheritance. Multi. Okay, multi, one home which is an independent house. Second is called multi. So why it is called multi? Because there is more than one floor is there, right? So that's why it is called multi, right? Class B extended by class A, class C extended by class B, class D extended by class C, right? So this is called multi-level inheritance. Like mobile is the best example, because in every new mobile you will get a features of previous one. Like suppose iPhone 16 is there, 16 Pro is there, 16 Pro Max is there. So there are some features of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16 Pro Max, whatever the version we have. So that is what advantage of inheritance. If suppose company wants to launch new mobile, that person inherited this new mobile classes with the previous one. So all the feature inherited in this class, and they will add some new feature and they'll launch a new mobile in the market. Okay, is that what the advantage of inheritance is? Reusability concept, right? So this class is when inheritance is at more than one level, this type of inheritance is called multi-level inheritance. This is called multi-level inheritance. I hope you understood. Okay, next one is multiple inheritance. What is multiple? Multiple means multiple inheritance when a single class acquire the property of more than one classes. Okay, when a single class acquire the property of more than one classes, like we have a class A, then we have a class B, then we have a class C, okay, and this class Z actually extended by class A also, class B also, and class C also. So this is called multiple inheritance, right? But in Java, we use extend keyword only once with the class, not more than one. So in Java, we don't have direct concept of multiple inheritance, right? Suppose in Java, if you want, okay, let me show you. Suppose in Java, if you want to inherit this type of, if you want to perform this type of inheritance, okay, then simply we need to write like class Z, okay, then class Z extends, okay, class Z extends A, because in Java we even extend keyword class Z extends A, okay, then extends B, and this is an error. This is an error in Java, right? Because you are not able to allow to extend keyword twice. Only you are allowed to extend keyword once. Okay, so class Z extends by A, not from B now, because there is no direct multiple inheritance supported by Java. Now sir, what is the reason? There is some technical reason is that. So I'll explain this topic, like why Java don't have multiple inheritance when I come to the coding part of this inheritance. Okay, when I'll start coding part and then there is a topic called inheritance, that time I'll explain like why Java don't have multiple inheritance concept, because some of the technical concepts are there, some of the coding concepts are there. Okay, so initially I'm trying to explain you like very simply what exactly the features of Java, what is object oriented programming, but object oriented programming in term of Java, not means not like in any another languages. Okay, I'll explain each and every example which is related with Java, because actually we need to implement all this concept in Java, and that's for the reason I told you earlier also, don't take this object oriented program lightly. Like if you have a knowledge of C++, that is a different concept, right? Because in Java there are a lot of concept has been changed. Okay, so sir, how we can achieve this multiple inheritance in Java? Anyone is having any idea? Like any idea like how in Java we achieve multiple inheritance? If there, okay sir, we are studying Java first time, how do you know that, right? Suppose if you have any knowledge, so that I'm asking you. If you don't have, then it's okay. Okay, so in Java, if we want to achieve multiple inheritance, okay, so there is a concept. There is a concept in Java. Okay, I'll get some answer. In Java, if a static method is defined in both the subclasses, okay, that is a different thing, boss. I'll come to the coding part and then I'll explain all this concept, like what is static concept, how to define a static method and all this. Okay, see, I told you that in Java there are some concept which I'm going to explain when I come to the coding part. This is a third lecture. I'm going to explain you what is object oriented programming. So I'm not going to a deep dive in programming right now. Okay, so right now we are talking about the concept like object oriented programming and types of the features of object oriented programming. Okay, I'll explain you each and every concept. Don't worry about this. There is some question I actually seen by this Vishika in Java method static, and okay, like I don't know who is the person. Okay, so please wait some time, because see we have not yet write hello world program in Java, so this is a very far away. Okay, so class Z extends A, extends B, this is not possible, but yes, in Java there is a concept called interface. With the use of interface we achieve multiple inheritance. But yes, interface is not for multiple inheritance, right? Interface is a different concept, right? But with the use of interface we achieve multiple inheritance in Java. Got it? So I hope till now you understood like what is inheritance, what is multiple inheritance, right? Single level. Okay, after completion of this inheritance, then I'll come to this, I'll discuss some of the questions, okay, because there are a lot of questions are there. So then after I'll see some questions, okay, I'll discuss with you whatever the question you have. Okay, so type meanwhile, okay, if you have any doubt, any question, so just after completion of this inheritance, then we'll discuss your question and answer. Okay, then I'll answer you. Okay, so single level, multi-level, multiple. Okay, so Java don't have multiple inheritance directly. Now the next one is hybrid inheritance. You know what is hybrid mode? Hybrid mode, at COVID time there is a very common word. The classes is going on hybrid mode. Okay, classes is going on hybrid mode. It's a very common word. Okay, like hybrid mode. Hybrid mode means what? Two modes, right? Online as well as offline. Hybrid means online, offline, right? Combination of two is called hybrid, right? Similar way, combination of any two inheritance is called an hybrid inheritance. If two inheritance are combined, they will form a hybrid, right? So say this one. This is an example like class A is there, okay? Class A, class B, and class C. Okay, so class A use the property of class B uses the property of class A. Class C use the property of class B, but this class C also required the property of any another class like class Z. Okay, so this is what exactly, but in Java it is not possible, okay, because this class C is not allowed to inherited by two classes, class B and class Z. Okay, but yes, if I am talking about this is called multi-level inheritance. This is called multi-level inheritance. Okay, multi-level. Okay, and this one is called multiple inheritance. If you see this is the multiple inheritance, right? So combination of any two inheritance is called hybrid inheritance. Okay, so this is one of the example, like multi-level plus multiple, right? Another example, this one, right? Before that, let me explain you, like hierarchical inheritance is what? When multiple classes acquire, when multiple classes inherited by single class, right? When multiple classes inherited by single class, okay, it is just opposite of multiple. In multiple, a single class acquire the property of multiple classes. But in hierarchical inheritance, or it is also called tree structure inheritance, okay, there is a topmost class and all these classes are exactly inherited by this class, and then again this class inherited by this class. So this is possible in Java, right? Because the structure of Java is the same, like topmost class is object and every class is inherited by this object class, okay, and then further classes. So this type of inheritance is called what? Hierarchical inheritance, tree structure inheritance. I hope you understood, like single level, multi-level, multiple, hybrid, and last one is hierarchical, okay. Then there is one more example of hybrid inheritance. Suppose we have a two class, and these two classes acquire the property of single class. Okay, so this one is hierarchical, like, okay, class A, B, C is there, right? B and C acquire the property of A. And then again class D, just I told you, like, it's a diamond problem. Okay, again a class D acquire the property of B and C both, right? So this one is multiple inheritance. And this one is hierarchical inheritance, right? This is an hierarchical inheritance, okay. But if you see this one, it's a multiple inheritance, right? A single class acquire the property of more than one classes, right? So this one is multiple, right? So again, combination of multiple and hierarchical inheritance is called what? Hybrid inheritance. So when two inheritance are combined, they will make a form of hybrid. So till now, I hope you understood, like, what is inheritance, what are the types of inheritance, how many types of inherited Java supported directly. Okay, we use extend keyword in Java for only one class. But to achieve multiple inheritance in Java, there is a concept called interface. And when we are inherit, see, it's too early to discuss this thing, but still I'll explain you, like, interface is like a class. It is not a class, okay, it is like a class, okay. Like in Java, once we create a class, there is a .java file created, and after compilation there is a .class file created. If it is a class, if it is an interface, okay, if it is an interface, again a .java file created and again a .class file created, right? So the same concept is same, right? But in class there is no rule, okay, but in interface there are a lot of rules are there. Like in interface, every method must be an abstract method, every variable of interface must be public and final. All this rule I'll explain you later on, okay. But if I inherited a class in Java, so sir, why you explain this thing this time? Okay, just to clear you how to achieve multiple inheritance, right? So in Java, once we inherit a class with a class, that is called extend. That is called an extend. A class is extended by a class. But once we inherit a class with interface, that is called implements. Okay. So there are two keywords, like for in inheritance we use two keywords in Java, extends as well as implements. Once a class inherited by an interface, that is called implement. A class inherited by a class, that is called extend. So in Java, we say that we use extend keyword one time, but we use implement keyword multiple times. In Java, a class is extended by only one class, but a class is implemented by more than one interface. So this is what the reason how we achieve multiple inheritance with the use of interface. Because the implement keyword we use multiple times at the time of inheritance, but extend keyword we use only one time. Okay, so why Java is having that much concept? Okay, I'll explain you this thing and we'll come to the programming part. Okay, so now let me see the questions, what you have, what is the doubt you have. Okay, but please, my one request to you that, okay, if you have any doubt, please be focused on this session only, okay, means try to focus on this session only, the doubts related with this session, okay, no doubt, if you have a major doubt then it's okay, but please try to write the question which is related with the current topic. You know, if you have any knowledge of Java, okay, So definitely the question comes in mind, and in Java we have that, but still we have a lot of things need to discuss. Okay, so each and every topic I'll cover in upcoming. Whatever the question comes in your mind, it may be possible that will be covered in upcoming session. Okay, so please be focused on the current session right now. Okay. Okay, so there are a lot of playlists in Java. If a static method is defined in both the superclass and it's a subclass, a superclass reference point to a subclass object, which is version of a static method is called. Okay, I'll explain you, Ashika. Don't worry, when I come to the programming part, I told you. But question is perfect, very nice question. But please wait for some time. For me, you are a fresher, so I'm not going to write any code right now. Okay, I have not written any code of Java right now, but I'll explain you. Okay, this thing. Don't worry about this. Okay, so I hope you have okay, definitely Ayush. Actually, I have not explained much about interface. Okay, currently I have no use of watching this because I don't know about interface. Okay, see, I have not explained you interface. I just told you that interface is one of the concept in Java to achieve multiple inheritance, right? So you have to know this knowledge even in earlier also, right? Because when we'll come to this interface part, definitely we'll discuss the coding concept, right? It's a complete Java, Afri, don't worry about this. Okay, but it's based on your efforts also. Please share this, like how many share you have, then definitely I'll continue these classes. Okay, so please share this video to your friends also. Okay, you're a first year student, CSC. Okay, that doesn't matter, like you're in first year or in 10th class. If you know the concept, then age is not a matter, its class is not a matter. Okay, so important is that at least you have a knowledge about this, all this thing, right? Means the most important thing, you must understand all this thing, right? If you're able to understand, then it doesn't matter we are in 10th class or you're in first year. Okay, so don't worry about this. Okay, I'll explain in a very simple manner so that you will get all the things easily, right? So okay, I think there is no question right now. So let me come to the next concept, right? And that concept is what? Till now we discussed about object-oriented programming, the most important concept, that is inheritance. Okay, so now let me come to this single level. Okay, we have seen all this concept, single, multi-level, multiple extent concept, right? So now let me come to this. Okay, so polymorphism, data hiding, abstraction, inheritance. Okay, now see, these classes and objects are the topic which is exactly related with the coding part. Okay, so just wait for this class and object. I'll explain you when I'll start the coding part in Java. Okay, that time I explain you like what exactly the class and what exactly an object is, because see, the complete Java is based on these two topics, classes and object, right? So what is class, what is an object, how to create a class in Java, okay, how to create object in Java, that all is the coding part which I'm going to start very soon, so don't worry about this. Okay, now let me come to this is a relation and has a relation, right? You know what is a relationship and has a relationship? Another important question of interview. Is a relation and has a relation, right? So see, suppose if we have a class, okay, if we have a data member in this class, so sometimes this question may be asked in interview, how many ways we access the data member of one class into another class? Like how many different ways to access the data member of one class into another class? Like suppose we have a class A and I need to access the data member of this class A in class B. So how many ways we are going to access the data member of class A in class B? How many different ways are there? Okay, so there are two different ways. If I want to access the data member of one class in another class, there are two different approaches are there. One, you need to create object of this class, like suppose A1 equal to new A in the sense of Java, don't worry about this, A1 equal to new A, okay. You need to create object of this class. See, this is a very basic concept. Like if you want to access the data member of one class into another class, okay, you need to create object. So in this case, we say that this two classes is having object relationship. Object relation, right? Because to access the data member of class A in class B, I created object. So once I created object of this class A, that is an object relationship, and this same relationship is also called Hazer relationship. Again, one of the most important question of interview, what is Hazer relationship, right? So Hazer relationship means object relationship. When you are accessing the data member of one class in another class, but after creating object of the class, right? So that is called Hazer relationship. And second way to access the data member, like suppose if I need to access the data member of this class B in the data member of class A in class B. First one, create an object of this class and access the data member, right? Second way to access the data member is what? Suppose this is a class A and we have some data member of this class and I need to access this data member in class B, okay? The second way to access this data member is what? You can simply extend this class B by class A. No need to create object. This is the second way to access the data member of class B in data member of class A in class B. Simply you extend this class. Right? So if you extend this class, easily you are able to access all the data member of class A in class B. But this time, these two classes is having inheritance relationship. It is called inheritance relationship, right? And this inheritance relationship is also known as is a relationship. One of the most important question of interview, difference between is a relationship and has a relationship. So is a relationship means what? When you are accessing the data member of one class in another class after inheritance, right? After extend. So this relationship between these two classes is called is a relationship. But once you are accessing the data member of one class in another class after creating object of the class. So this relationship is called Hazer relationship. So if someone asks you how many relationships are there between two classes, so these are the two relationships, Isa and Hazer. Isa means inheritance, Hazer means object relationship, right? So this is what exactly the meaning of this is a relation and has a relation, right? Now let me show you like what a definition only about the classes and object, like what is class, what is object, why we need to create class. Okay, you know, just I explained you about like in studying data hiding plus abstraction. We have already discussed like what is data hiding, what is abstraction, you know. So how to achieve this data hiding? The most important question is how to achieve this data hiding, right? So to achieve this data hiding, we need to create a class. Because with the class, it is only possible that we are achieving data hiding, right? And how to achieve this abstraction? To achieve this abstraction, we need to create object of the class. Like, and now let me show you the definition of this object and classes. Like, what is the definition of an object? Okay, so that you will get a clarity, this object and class must be created together always, right, in object-oriented programming. See, if there is an object, definitely object must have a class. An object you are not able to access without a class. An object means every object must have a class in background. Object must have a class in background. This is the for sure concept, like whether it is an inbuilt object or whether it is a user-defined object. If there is an object, definitely there is a class behind this object. Now, why I say that? Why I say that? Because you know what is an object? Anything which is having a property and method is called an object. Anything which is having a property and method, okay, property and method, okay, is called an object. So if anything is having a property and method, like this pen is having a property, like its color, shape, size, it's a property of this pen. Method, for what purpose we use it? For writing purpose, for anything, right? For writing purpose, right? So this pen is having a property This pen is having a method, so this is an object. In real world, everything is an object because everything is having a property and method. Like you an object, me an object. Okay, my color, my height, this is what the property I have. Okay, I can see, I can walk, I can talk, I can teach, I can speak. These are the method which I am having and you are having, right? So every object must have property and methods. And in object-oriented programming, we say that everything is based on object. So that means you have to define, or anyone who want to access the data by object, that must need to define property as well as method. I hope you understood. Like, okay, if object means property and method, that means it is compulsory to define property and method. So where we define property and method of an object? So for that purpose, to define this property and method, compulsory we need to create a class. So classes are always created to define properties and method for whom? For object. So every object must have a class because object means property and method, and to define this property and method, it is compulsory we need to create a class because it's class who are able to define property and method of an object. So we say that classes are the blueprint of an object. Okay, because every object must have a class. Now sir, what is the property and method? I hope you understood. Like property means characteristics, method means behavior. For what purpose you create that object, that is a method, right? And what are the characteristics that object is having, that is a property. Got my point? So that's the reason, like if object-oriented programming is there and everything is based on object, then every object must have a class. Right? So, like suppose this car is an object, right? So what are the property of this car? So all the property, like okay, like color, its width, its height, these are the properties, right? And what is the method? Like driving is one of the method, like steering is one of the method, like anything, right? So all the method of this class, all the method and all the property. For if I need to define object for this car, first I need to create class car, and inside this class car we need to define properties as well as method. So in every class you must find properties as well as method. Okay, so in object-oriented programming like Java, everything is based on object. For everything you have to create an object, right? But every object must have a class. Whether it is an inbuilt object like in C++, suppose if you have any idea like in C++, you know cout is an object, scene is an object. Okay, but this object also have a class. OStream, iStream, IOStream. So this object must have a class, whether it is an inbuilt object or whether it is a user-defined object. Because we are going to create two types of object in object-oriented programming, user-defined as well as inbuilt. So if I'm talking about inbuilt object, again there is a class behind this. If you are talking about user-defined object, again there is a class behind it. Because classes are the concept who are responsible to define properties and method. I hope you understood. So this is what exactly the concept of this object-oriented programming like polymorphism, data hiding, abstraction, inheritance, classes, object, is the relation, has the relation. Just forget about this association aggregation that I'll explain you later on because right now it is not required, right? So data hiding, polymorphism, encapsulation, inheritance. Now I hope you have a clear clarity because again I'm telling you, if you are a fresher and you are appearing for an interview, at least 15 to 20 to 30 minutes, they will ask you the question related with object-oriented programming. So how this object-oriented programming is differ in Java as compared to C++? Lot of example we have discussed, like in multiple inheritance is one of the difference. Okay, like operator overloading is one of the difference, right? And there are so many differences are there, but actually I have not covered this because that is some of the technical concept which we'll discuss at the time of coding only, right? So till now I hope you have a clear clarity about this object-oriented programming concept. So you know, when I started the definition of Java, we say that Java is an open source, freeware, object-oriented, platform-independent language. So among this all, okay, we discussed about freeware because there is no need to purchase licensed software. It's a freely available. We discussed about open source in last lecture. Okay, what is open source technology? For community people, Java has given its source code openly available, right? third most important concept, object oriented programming, right? What is object oriented programming? Why Java is called object oriented programming language? Already we discussed. Now the most important topic, for this Java actually came in the market. Write once, run anywhere. And that concept is called write once, run anywhere. That concept is called type it fast. Portable is not, okay, portable is, but see, a world known word which is for which Java is famous, okay. Java is famous for platform independency. This is called platform independency, right? Once, run anywhere, right? So Java is a platform independent language. This is the reason why Java came in the market, right? Even, you know, in introductory video I explained you about like what is exactly the need of Java in the market. Why there is a need of Java when already there was a language like C, C++, Visual Basic, okay, because that time all that languages are platform dependent language. But that time the requirement is what? The language required, which is platform independent language. You know, when before Java, even one of the concept came in the market related with this platform independency, because when I'll explain you this platform independency, we'll discuss in two different ways. Like that time, the people required a language who easily run without an operating system. I'm not talking about every operating system. That time, a language required whose application, whose program is run without an operating system. I need a language whose program is execute in that particular machine where we don't have any operating system. That is one platform independency. And secondly, platform independency is what? The language required who run in any operating system. That is a different part. So first part is a different types of platform independency, and second part is a different types of platform independency. Right, that time a language required for what purpose, you know, for remote application, you know, remote application required, like we can easily, you know, how many of you know the era of 90s? Anyone? 90s, like that time the era of your father, and I know very well, right? Okay, have you, okay, tell me, okay, it's a general discussion, it is not at all related with any programming. See, which first TV you watched in your earlier childhood? Okay, which was the first television? Which was the first television you watched? It's a remote type of television, or there was a channel like, okay, when we use to go to the TV and then change the channel. Is that time of era you have, any one of you have actually used to with that particular television? Have you ever watched that television, or you started to watch the television with the remote only, right? Yes, definitely. There is a knob button is there, and we change the channel according to, okay, and there is a voice is there, right? So that time was the era in 90s, 80s, 1990s, right? When there was a famous TV serial show was there at that time, Ramayana. You know, Ramayana is one of the famous TV serial show, Ramayana, Mahabharata. Okay, that time, not the COVID time I'm talking about. This COVID time is again, both the serial has been repeated, right? But that time, you know, that Ramayana Mahabharata was, means, there is a crazy, the people were crazy about that TV serials, right? So that time, even in my home, that was the first TV when came, it was a channel like that, right? And then later on, after 95, it is possible that we operate the TV by mobile, by that remote. We operate AC by remote. We operate now, everything we operate by remote in home, right? It's a IoT, smart home. Okay, so that time, that language is required for such type of a application, right? Okay, like smart applications, right? So that is different type of platform independency. And Java is a different. Java is a language who actually used in market for run an application in different types of operating system. So when I'll start this platform independency concept, I'll explain you both the concept, like, okay, that one also and this one also. So for remote application, there is a language required. Okay, and for web application, there is a language required, and both is called platform independency. And the means most interesting thing is that among these both the language, the person is common, the developers are common. Okay, means both the technology given by the same developer, but the ways are different, the concepts are different, right? So what is the meaning of this platform independency? Why Java is called a platform independent language? And the most importantly, how Java is a platform independent language? Why we say that C and C++ are platform dependent language, and why C, C++ are platform dependent? Okay, why Java is a platform independency? What is the funda behind this? That all concept I'll cover in my next session. Okay, because till now we discussed about the concept of object oriented programming. Tomorrow I'll explain you complete about platform independency. It will take around 2 hours to explain me the platform independency concept. Okay, and means listen it very carefully. In Java interview, your interview will not finish without this question. What is platform independency concept? Definitely interviewer will ask you this question, why Java is called platform independent language and how Java is a platform independent, right? So I'll cover this topic in my next session, which will be in tomorrow. Okay, I'll cover this topic in my tomorrow session, platform independency. But I hope till now you understood all the concept. Okay, if you have any doubt, then definitely you ask me. Okay, so let me check questions and some of the question. Shaka sir, I'm still not able to define what actually object oriented programming even after knowing the concept of object oriented programming. See, object oriented programming are nothing but the concept. If language follows this concept, that is called an object oriented programming language. In last video, I told you in last lecture, in last Sunday, when I started this object oriented programming, that time I explained this concept like, okay, object oriented programming, you attended the last video, Vishaka, where we discussed about object oriented and object based and procedure oriented. That's for the reason that question came in your mind, okay? So you all will do one thing who have not attended. Actually, that video is available on YouTube. Okay, you can you go to that and watch the last video. So all that questions which comes in your mind, okay, automatically that resolved. Okay, so you'll do one thing, just watch this video. Okay, on YouTube it's available, so simply watch this. Okay, so definitely get your answers. Okay. Sir, why use object oriented programming, boss? Object oriented programming we use for reusability. Object oriented programming we use for data hiding. Okay, there are a lot of advantages, okay, for object-oriented programming. Reusability is the best. In C, it is not possible that we reuse the data because it's a procedure-oriented programming language. Reusability is only possible when there is a class. Inheritance is only possible when there is a class. And classes is only able to define we are able to define class only when we have an object-oriented programming language. So inheritance, reusability, encapsulation, okay, overloading concept, that is only possible when the language is an object-oriented programming language that I explained you even in last video. Why Java is or has a relation? Java use both the relationship, like we have a is a relationship in Java as well as we have a has a relationship, because in Java it is possible that we access the data member of a class using object, and it is also possible that in Java we inherit or we extend the class with another class. So both of the relationship is possible in Java. How Java address security? Just wait for some time, Vishaka. I'll definitely come to this topic. Okay, even in next lecture you will get your answer, okay, when I'm explaining about the platform independency concept. Okay, सर एक बार उसको समराइज कर दीजिए। भक्ति एक काम करिएगा, आप इस वीडियो को, सी दिस इज अ वीडियो इज अवेलेबल ऑन यूट्यूब, ओके, यू कैन जस्ट गो देयर एंड वॉच दिस वीडियो अगेन। इट्स नॉट अ ऑफलाइन क्लासेस, दैट इज द बेस्ट एडवांटेज ऑफ online, okay, like if you are able to summarize the thing, it is better to watch this video completely, okay. But okay, at the end we say that object oriented programming means what? Object oriented programming is the sum of multiple things like inheritance, encapsulation, data hiding, abstraction, classes, object, okay. And with this all, it is possible that we are reuse the concept, we secure the data, okay. So in Java there are a lot of more advantage. Please wait for some time, okay, otherwise it will take again half an hour, okay, to explain me the concept, okay. I already used so many real life example. Boy King, the name is Boy King, I don't know. I already used so many examples related with real world to explain this object oriented programming. Vishaka, JVM I'll explain in next class because platform independency concept is there. JVM is related with platform independency, not with object oriented programming. So till now we have not yet discussed JVM. Don't worry, JVM, JRE, JDK, all this concept I'll cover in upcoming session. You know, even I'll explain you like the structure of Java virtual machine, which is the most complicated concept, right? To understand the structure of Java virtual machine, what is the structure of JVM, okay, that I'll explain you in my upcoming session also. And this is the most frequently asked question of interviews even, right? So don't worry, each and every concept I'll explain you, but it will take a little bit time, don't worry about this. Definitely boss, gurus are also guide for making e-commerce project. It's too far boss, it's a third lecture of Java, even we have not yet create a program for welcome in Java, hello world program, so project is far away, please wait for some time. Okay, so let's meet in the next lecture and then we'll discuss the most important topic, that is platform independency, okay. So I hope you understood all these concepts. I'll catch you in the next class and then we'll discuss another important topic, that is platform independency. Till then, take care, good night.